Hello again, everyone. Today what we're going to be talking about is solving equations with parentheses. Okay, so sometimes you'll get these parentheses. So let's first just get this down. Solving equations with parentheses. Okay, parentheses. Ooh, okay, got it. Uh, Sometimes these parentheses can be a little bit confusing. Another way of thinking of this, or another way that us math people will talk about this, is you'll need to do some distribution. Distribution. Okay. And what does it mean when you distribute goods out to people? Well, if everything is equal, everybody is getting something, right? And we're kind of going to do that in this video. Let's take a look at our first example problem, and that is going to be -2 open parentheses 4r minus 5 end parentheses equals -17. Okay? And what you can do, so remember, distribution, everybody gets something, everybody gets one. So if you're inside of this parentheses, you're going to get it. Okay? And outside of our parentheses, we have the -2. And so we're going to distribute that to the 4r and then to the 5. Okay? So what is a -2 times 4r? Well, that is a -8r. Okay? You only change your number in the beginning. Okay? You don't have to do anything to the r, really. You're just changing your first number. So then, what is -2 times this -5? Well, think of that like a -2 times -5. Well, that would be a +10. Okay? And all of this still equals -17. Notice how we didn't add anything more to the equation, so we don't have to do anything to this right side yet. Okay? All we did is distribute the -2 through the parentheses, so we could get rid of the parentheses. So now we are at -8r plus 10 equals a -17. Think opposite day. Think reverse order of operations. So -8r plus 10. Well, let's get rid of that plus 10 first. So what is the opposite of plus 10? That is a -10. Okay. So what we did to the left side, we have to do to the right. We have to subtract that -10. Think of this equal sign as a meter. Okay? So this part here, our plus 10 and -10, they cancel out. And what we're left with on the left side is a -8r equals, so what's a -10 or a -17 minus, -10, more negative, okay? So a -17 minus 10 is a -27, okay? It is more negative. The way that you can kind of think of this is you have your number line and 0. Over here is the negative world. Over here is the positive world. So if you're subtracting, you are moving to the left. If you are adding, you are moving to the right. There are some extra times, I'll call them a little bit of more complex problems, that it'll be a little bit different from this, but for the most part, this is going to get you through it. Okay? So then we are at a -8r equals a -27. So how do we get rid of the -8? Right? We want our answer to be r equals something. Okay? Well, we don't want to do anything with this r, but what's happening between the -8 and the r? Well, it's multiplication. We're going to divide both sides by -8, And what our end result is, and I'll keep this in just kind of like a, maybe I'll even put it as a mixed number, but the negative signs cancel out because a negative divided by a negative is a positive. And so we have 27 over 8. This is called an improper fraction. Okay? And sometimes what you'll be asked to do is round this to the tenths or the hundredths or the thousandths, whatever. Other times you might be asked to answer this as a mixed number. Okay? So think of this kind of like long division. I know that's like a swear word, people that don't like math, but it's not that bad. So think about how many times does 8 go into 27? Well, 8, 16, 24. So it goes in there 3 times completely. Okay? So 3 times completely. And then there is, so from 24 to 27, there's 3 left over. So it's 3/8. So our answer is 3 and 3/8. Okay? So it's not too bad. It doesn't look too ugly. I hope it doesn't, at least. These problems can be fun, and you have to stay optimistic to get better at this stuff. So let me get another problem pulled up, and we'll move on to another example. So for our next example, what we have is 5 parentheses 3 plus 7x end parentheses equals 23. And again, remember what we're doing is distribution. That's usually going to be your first bet. You can do it a few different ways, but this is a pretty nice, safe way, okay? So everybody gets one. Everybody gets one. Okay? So everybody gets a 5. So 5 times 3 is 15, plus 5 times 7 is 35x. Bring that x down. Don't forget about that. Equals 23. And again, we didn't add anything to that left side, so we don't have to do anything to the right side. So 15 plus 35x equals 23. Think opposite day. So we want to get rid of this 15 first. Kind of start from farther away from your variable. Okay? So how do we get rid of this positive 15? Well, we're going to subtract 15 from both sides. What we end up with here, these 15s cancel out. 15 minus 15 is 0, so we don't have to worry about it. But on the right side, we'll have to do a little bit of math. So 35x equals, so what is 23 minus 15? Well, that would be 8. 8. Okay? Now what we have is 35 times this x here, times our variable, equals 8. So how do we get rid of the 35 times the x? Well, we're going to divide. We're going to divide by 35. And what we do to one side, we have to do to the other. And x equals 8 divided by 35, or 8 over 35. And you always should ask yourself, is this simplified? In our case, it is. Simplified means that it's the easiest way, the simplest way to write the fraction. Okay? There's nothing we can really do to this, though. You might be asked to write this as a decimal, in which case just go ahead and plop it into your computer and you're good to go, or your calculator, and you're good to go. Let's do another problem. Let's get one more, because these aren't too bad, but it's good to kind of check out a bunch of different ones. So give me 1 second. All right, so for our next problem, we have, hang on 1 second, we have 4 parentheses 6s minus 5 end parentheses equals negative 19 plus 8s. Okay? This one is a little bit more complex. As you can tell, we have a 6s over here and an 8s over there. Don't get yourself confused with all of these things, okay? Just stick to that first idea of this. Distribution. Just do that first. You'll be okay. Distribution. Okay? And what we have is 4 outside of this parentheses. So let's distribute this 4 through the parentheses. And what we get is, we get 24, 6, 12, 18, 24 s minus 4 times 5 is 20. Okay? And that equals negative 19 plus 8s. Okay? So 24s minus 20 equals negative 19 plus 8s. And so now we're faced with a choice, right? Algebra can go back and forth over these equal signs. And so what we want to do is decide what things we want to move to the left and what things we want to move to the right. And there's a few different strategies, but what I like to do, this is what I like to do, and I'll put it as a little note. Always, if you can, always, always keep the number with your variable positive. So keep the number with your variable positive. Okay? It'll save you some headaches later on. Okay? So how we're going to do that, we're actually going to move this plus 8s over to the left. Okay? And how do we undo a plus 8s? Well, we subtract 8s. So let's do a different color. We're going to minus 8s from this side, and we're going to minus 8s from this side. Okay. What we end up with, so think kind of like we still held on to our idea earlier of the mirror, right? We subtract 8s from both sides. But here, so what is 24s minus 8s? Well, that is 16s. And then let's just finish writing everything else out. And it equals a negative 19. This 8s here and this minus 8s, they canceled themselves out. Okay? So now everything is still balanced. Our equal sign, the integrity of our equal sign is the same. So how now we're in comfortable territory. So how do we get rid of the minus 20? Well, we're going to add 20 to both sides. Let's add 20 to both sides. Same thing. We have this mirror. Added 20 to both sides. Okay, so our negative 20 and positive 20 cancel out. And what we're left with on the left side is 16s equals, so negative 19 plus 20. Think back on your number line. 0. So positive is moving to the right. Negative is moving to the left. So we're already at negative 19 over here, and we want to add 20. So we want to move to the right. Okay? So negative 19 plus 20 is just 1. Nice and easy, number 1. Okay? So now we want to get rid of the 16. So we divide both sides by 16. And s equals 1 over 16. And like I've said before, if your homework or your teacher wants you to have your answer in a decimal form, go ahead and round it to whatever decimal they are requiring you to. So you just type that into your calculator of 1 divided by 16 and see what your decimal is. So I hope this is helping you out. If you have any more questions, please make sure to comment, like, do all of that stuff. And I'll see you guys later. Thank you.